Hey, this is John and Jani show. We're back with our third episode. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host, John Corey, founder of Liquid.com, online therapist directory, and the author of the new book, Chronology, Evolution, and You, coming out hopefully this fall. With me, as always, is Jani Moon.
Hello, hello. Excited to be here. As always, John, I'm a media coach here in New York City, making you a star in your life and in the media.
Yes, she is. Thanks for being here again, Jani. This show is all about cool people doing cool things. We're really excited each time so far to have some cool guests on here who've done some interesting things and are going to share that with you guys, how to do those interesting things. And today's guest is Bethany Williams. Bethany is a business executive and author straight out of Austin, Texas. She is here to tell us how to deal with that uncomfortable conversation that comes up every so often, how to get a pay raise. Let's take a look at her books. She's written a couple of books as well. CEO of You, I just bought that today.
Yeah, CEO of You. We have Brand You, Live Your Dreams. All excellent, excellent books. And I think she's got another one coming out we'll have to ask her about.
We will have to ask her about that. But today specifically, we're going to have her about getting a pay raise.
Which is awesome because we all need to be asking for more money, right?
Yeah, I think that's like the kind of general trend people are talking about is that people aren't getting paid enough. Everybody's talking about minimum wages and how to raise that up. And so the federal government comes in. But if you're making decent salary but you still feel like you need a little bit more and you see people around you getting more, how are you going to take charge of that? So Bethany's story sounds pretty interesting. She got divorced at some point and had to deal with the kids on her own. And from what I understand, it was a very tough time for her, but she managed to pull herself together, pull her up by her own bootstraps, shall we say. And she's doing quite well for herself right now as an executive with a company out in Texas. And like we said, coaching people and mentoring people on how to really take charge of their careers. So let's have her on, shall we?
Yay!
Bethany. Is that Jani doing that? Bethany, welcome. We got her on mute for some reason. Wait. Why is she muted?
Oh.
Unmute. Do you hear us now?
No, her little mute button is on.
Come on.
Bethany.
There. Can you hear me now?
Now we hear you.
I'm so sorry. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thanks for being on the show. So Bethany, take us back to that. I guess we should start with that, when this all started for you, because I mean, I've experienced this, and I think this is a big theme for a lot of people, is that real change happens when you really are in a lot of pain, when you're at the bottom and when you're having a tough time. That's when things really start to change in your life. When everything's coasting, it's hard for people to change, right?
Right, right. Well, I think we get most of us get comfortable, and we don't like to rock the boat. And so most of us are sitting kind of complacent until we're forced to. And actually, yes, I was... my husband left me when I had a 2-year-old and had I had a child to raise and was broke. I wasn't making enough money. And
I read somewhere about the stories of poverty. What were some of you joked around, like, tell us some of those stories about when you were...
Well, I had to live on $35 a week at one point for food, and so I decided I would tell my daughter when she was about 4 or 5. I told her we were vegetarians because it was so much cheaper to buy pasta. And she was a really, really smart kid, and one time when we were out for dinner and someone else was paying the bill, I ordered a giant steak, and I was so ready for that, like, juicy steak, and she leans over in front of a table full of people at this dinner and says, "Mom, I thought we were vegetarians."
So you joke about that, but that must have been pretty tough, right?
It was a painful time. It was a difficult time.
I mean, was that a time when you really did feel like some things had to be different in your life? I mean, did you see a way out of all this?
At the time, I was so frustrated. They were hiring in new people at a rate higher than I was making, and I didn't really see a way out. I felt more panic that I wasn't going to be able to pay my rent, that I could end up, out on the streets. And so it was more out of fear because, women, we ask 4 times less than the men do. So just by nature, we're less likely to ask for a raise.
Why do you think that is?
I think we get comfortable. We're a little more compassionate. I talk to a lot of women that say, I don't think the company has it. And, I don't want to put them out. And then I talk to other people in similar roles that are going, the company has to have it. I'm working hard. I'm making them money, and they need to pay me. So it's definitely a different pattern of thought, and different people land. Even the men, some of them land on that. I feel sorry for the company.
That's true. I think that women, of course, are by nature more caring and more giving. And I think when you're giving, you're trying to take care of something. You're trying to take care of your company, as if that's a thing, as if that's your baby to take care of. And the last thing you want to do is take from that. And there's definitely some overlap. There's some men I know too who wouldn't. It's the last thing they would think of is to ask for a raise or something like that.
Right.
But I think a lot of women.
But it's really not. It's not always gender based. It's just this personality type that says you care more about the company and you're more concerned for them.
Very loyal.
Yeah, very loyal, very dedicated. They're usually the people that are getting their work done. They're not networking as much. They're not keeping track of their successes, and they're not keeping their eye on the market and what the market's paying. And I fell right into that.
That is so me. Check.
And this is a big mistake. This is what you're saying, right?
It can be a very big mistake because you do not want to be way below your market value, because companies consider what you are paid, what you are worth. And so if you're not making very much, they don't think you're worth very much. And so your next job, you'll be paid less.
But how does your next job know how much you're making?
They ask you.
And you tell them? Sorry, Jani.
Jinx. John and I like to talk over each other.
But you tell them when somebody asks you, okay, how much did you make at your last job? Because of course I'm a freelancer, so I go around from one place to another, and they ask you what was your rate at the last job, and of course I've learned to say either none of your business or to lie about it, or to just be like, this is what I want, and that's that.
I coach people to not say the numbers if they can help it. I coach them to say, I wouldn't leave this job for less than X, because your tenure's worth something, the type of role you have, how confident you are where you are, the benefits. And so I've tried to get them to get away from, I don't encourage lying, and I try to get them away from talking those type of numbers. So what would it take for you to leave? And maybe it would take twice your salary because you feel so comfortable in the job you're at.
Right.
What I found when I was negotiating, when I finally actually got the balls to go negotiate, was I realized my peers were making 3 times what I was making.
Oh my God.
And until I found that out, someone left a pay stub out on the copier. They were making copies because they were getting a home loan. And I found out, this was years ago, I found out how much they were making. I went in the bathroom and cried. I'm sitting there going, I can't buy food. And this asshole that just got hired last week that doesn't know as much as I know is making 3 times what I'm making. And I got angry, and then I used that anger to, obviously I didn't go in angry, but I started negotiating I started looking at the market, seeing what my skills were worth, and realizing how far I'd fallen below my market value.
And this works for you then. So you went in there and you said, this is what, so how did that conversation go?
Well, actually it didn't work the first time. I got a no. And one of the things I find is people see no as a stop sign rather than a speed bump. And so we see, I tried it, didn't work. Unfortunately, it takes sometimes more than one ask, and it takes a commitment to getting yourself higher paid. So no, I think I had to ask 3 times before I got the raise I needed.
And it's worked well because you have gone from a mom living in poverty to making like 6 figures, kicking ass, right? So like you found the right formula.
I found the right formula. I realized that my loyal to a fault, I'm never going to leave perspective was keeping me from being paid. And we have to risk a little bit. We have to be willing to throw our hands in the air and apply for another role and maybe even take a job somewhere else. And if it means, I mean, I really sit with people and say, all right, if you could be making twice as much money across town working for a different company, would you take it? And they'd go, of course I would. But they're not going through the steps to try to get themselves there.
Okay, so what was the difference then between the first, second, and third talk with your boss?
That's a good question. That's a good question. So the first one, I wasn't prepared. I had no background, no info. I just knew I was ticked off.
Right.
So it kind of went like this. Hi. Thank you. I was wanting to talk about my pay, and I'd like a raise.
You got it. With that face, I'd give it to you. But it didn't work, though.
No.
No?
My second one was a little more... What?
What'd
So
you
we
say?
need John to be our bosses.
I'd be out of business, ladies.
My second one was a little more like, I've been here for 5 years. I've worked hard. I've been promoted 4 times. And I love working here. I enjoy my job. Unfortunately, I've fallen below my market value.
So you added some ammunition
And
there. You were really talking about
I had a little
stuff
bit of
you did,
ammunition.
stuff you're doing. You didn't have another job lined up or anything.
Nope. No exit policy.
Right.
It was like whipping them with a wet noodle. What were they going to do, right? Yeah, thanks for playing.
Right. So what was the combination that worked?
The combination that worked for me was I actually had to interview for some other jobs, find out what my market value was, and the combination that worked for me was I've been here several years. I love this job. As I said previous, I'm below my market value. I have a family to support, and as much as I love working here, I have to make what I can make with my skill sets. And unfortunately, I have received another offer, and if you can't change my salary, I'm going to have to take it. And I was perfectly ready to walk.
Yeah.
And that's when you gave them the ultimatum, they gave you the raise.
Well, bam! Amazing!
But is there a way to do it without that ultimatum?
If 1 and 2 works, go for it. Right. If it just works, you ask and you get it, or you've done your research and you get that, I think it's wonderful. It hasn't always worked for the people I coach.
Well, one thing I've kind of realized in the corporate world is that there are policies now in place. So that you were talking about these other guys had 3 times your salary, but isn't that kind of like taboo that like companies don't do that anymore, that they have salary scales all in place so that they're ready for it when somebody comes in there, that you can't exceed a certain limit? You know what I mean? You can't.
We'd like to think that.
It's not true.
We'd love to think
it's not true.
You're a man. You're living in a man's world, John Corey.
Is this bullshit?
Of course, there's all these little lines that we believe. I was once hired into a role. Here, I'll give you an example. I was once hired into a role, very large company. They had over 10,000 employees. And 4 of us were hired at the same time. 3 of them were put in one job code, and I was put in a different job code, and I was put in the wrong salary. And I wrote over 30 notes to Human Resources saying I'm being paid at the wrong rate. This is not what I negotiated. And I could not get in the right job code because they did not want to pay me that salary.
But they just wouldn't switch the job code for you?
They wouldn't switch the job code. So the way that when they're very structured, the way that they control your salary is through job classifications and job codes. The minute they change you to a different job code, you have a different salary range. So the people, they can hire new people in doing the same work you're doing and put them in a different job code.
Right.
Ay. Hey. so let's practice. So John and I are going to ask you for a raise, and you tell us who did a better job and coach us through it. John, you go first.
Cut. Jani, we did not talk about this. Okay, hold on.
Yes, we did. This is good coaching in action. Come on. Okay, you're our boss, Bethany.
I'll give you your tips. You want to start with your history, okay? Start with the quantifiable reason why it's justified. What have you been able to do for them? This is not about your personal situation. One time I asked for a raise and I said because my daughter needed braces. That didn't work out so good.
No, I bet.
So number 1 is about you. Number 2 is about where are you in the market? Are you right on target? Are you a little below? Where are you if you were to market analyze your skills? And then 3, you want to talk about any quantifiable benefit you've given the company.
Okay.
And then ask. Just
Okay.
straight up ask. And don't be ambiguous. I want a raise. Give an amount. I want a 20% raise. I want X amount. I'm expecting Y.
Okay. Ooh, I'm nervous. John, you get to go first.
Yeah, well, this is your fault. You did this, so I'm.
You go first.
I'll go
You're
first.
Man, you're
Well,
already.
look, I recently just had to do this because I'm working at one company now, and I've got another offer from another company, so I'm actually taking it. And you have to talk about rates. Okay, what are you going to charge? I work in IT, freelancing, so I'd be like, I've got 15 years experience in all this. The market rate is, let's say, 85. I'm going in lower than that, and I've got great references. Last 15 years, everybody's been totally happy. Every time I come in for a job, it's been a couple of months, but they keep me on for years. So let's do this. so I'm your man, but this is the rate. If I'm gonna go away, this is got to be the rate. What was is that the timer or is that?
No, you were supposed to role play with her.
So I think that was pretty good. I would say something like, I'm John, and I have been delivering amazing IT support for over 15 years. 100% of the customers that have dealt with me want to continue doing business with me. Not only do I deliver amazing support and 100% customer retention, but I do it at a market value. I'm doing it below market value, actually. And so I need to be paid for my services. You could pay a lesser amount to someone else or even a greater amount to someone else, but you're not going to get the same service and the same dedication and the same commitment. You're making a business case. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And the confidence you have will come out. And so that's the other thing I did wrong the first few times is I kind of had this lack of confidence.
Yeah, I saw
and
that.
So you see the difference? I was saying
I saw you
something
in that first when you explained it the first time. But I can imagine that confidence builds, no? After the third time you're in there that you get that you feel a little bit more confident, right?
John,
I don't think my confidence built until I interviewed with a few places and they were like, "What? You do what?"
Bethany, I think we should let John do it again. Do it again with more confidence.
All right, here we go. Oh wait, should I put myself on? I'm not gonna put myself on.
But you gotta Bethany. You gotta
Here
say
we go.
Bethany.
Oh, Bethany.
She's
So listen,
mom.
Bethany, I'll definitely take this job, but I'm going to need 80 euros an hour to do this. I'm in Europe, by the way. I'm going to need 80 euros an hour to do this. You know, every other place is going to ask you for 85. I've been doing this for 15 years now. Everybody I've ever been with is tremendously satisfied with my work. So I've got a good job going right now. If you want me, you're going to have to pay that rate to get me in there, I'm afraid. Except I'm afraid. I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, I like it. I would end with something like, and I'd be excited to be a part. You know, I'd end with something very positive. I like it.
That was interesting that you mentioned that you said, I love working for this company. It's not like this is a rat hole or whatever. It's a shithole of company, and you guys are too lucky to have me. You really explain how much you like working there. I'm sure they want to hear that too.
Yeah, it sounds like this balance between confidence and like your excitement to work for this place.
Right.
Companies want people that are not only dedicated, but that are a part of the team.
Yeah.
That are going to go, you know, they feel a bond, a connection to you.
Right. Okay, Jan, you're up.
I think that's good. I think they'd take that. I still don't understand why, if the market's paying 85 euros, why you wouldn't ask for 85 euros.
You know what? That's a great question. You know what it is? That is an absolutely great question. I work for these people. Wow, I just screwed up. You know what? I work.
No, you start there. You start because I immediately think, why would you be worth less than the market? It's okay if you take less than the market, but I would expect you to ask what the market is.
Yeah, because you also want to show that you're worth it. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I would show that
I do have a history. That's kind of a problem.
Then I would say, maybe for a guaranteed number of hours, then maybe you'd go down. So maybe if maybe you're looking for a certain commitment. So, and if you do X number of hours, for you, I'd offer you 80 euros an hour because it's a guaranteed hour. I mean, I don't know. I would start with the market value.
Yeah, unfortunately,
What
I
do
have
you
a
got to
history.
lose?
I've got a history, unfortunately. I started way lower than that, and I've worked my way up over the years with this same company. So I can't go in and not talk numbers because they know exactly what they paid me before. But you're right.
You
That
can
shouldn't
talk
really be an
numbers.
excuse.
Most people won't just say no. They'll negotiate you down.
Yeah.
Sorry, my little
Tough
dog
break.
just threw up.
Oh.
Don't
I
put
have
that
a
on camera.
puppy.
Yeah, don't put that on the camera.
Okay, Jani, you're up next.
Consider.
All right,
I would
okay. I got distracted. Okay.
Now I'm putting you on there. Go.
This is hard, right? Headlights. Bethany, hi. So, listen, I've been working for this company for the last 10 years. You know the value I bring. I have 100% client retention. I brought clients in as our clients because of me. They specifically asked for me. I feel really proud that I've been able to offer, this to the company. I love this company. You know how much I love this company. But I am way under market value. I am 40% under market value. And that is not okay. Not anymore. Something has to happen. I've been here way too long, and I've done too much for you guys. That I need to be getting paid what my market value is and what I've been offering this company, because I want to stay here. I love it here.
Bethany, back to you.
So I am requesting what are you asking for? What's your ask?
$1 million.
Pretend you're a teenager, right? You got to ask for money, and you're going to get less than you asked for. So, oh, look as she turns beet red. Look at her.
Okay, we'll put Bethany on. We'll put Bethany on until you.
I don't know what. So I would like a 30% increase.
Perfect.
I would love a 30% increase. Is that doable?
Are you asking her, is that doable? Or are you asking her as the role player?
Doable?
I think that's perfect. And then pause, because then what we do wrong is we keep talking.
Yeah.
And we almost talk them out of it. When they don't say anything, we fill. Oh, okay, I know you probably can't do it. Like we answer for them. Don't do that. Let them answer.
That is great.
Is it better to put people on the spot? Are we using the surprise attack? What about an email to warm them up?
I like to have a face-to-face conversation, and then if they have to get back to you, it's fine. I'd like to have a face-to-face conversation. I like to see what they're looking like. I like to read their facial expressions.
How much have you done this, Bethany?
I've done it a lot. I've been in business for 27 years.
You've got this look like, so you have a very confident look there. So that might be
well, you have
in
to
and of itself a real asset.
If you don't feel confident, you've got to fake it till you feel confident. Okay. You know what I find really helps that we don't do, John, is I bet you have a bunch of successful things you've done. And I bet if you printed some of those out and put it in a folder and looked through it right before you had this discussion, all of those examples of the amazing things you've done would come to your head. Yeah. Because you're talented, you discredit the things that are amazing. I just hired an IT guy in Connecticut to consult for our company, and he's really young. He's like just out of school. I mean, he's young, but he is good at what he does, and it doesn't matter to me how much we pay him because he can get it done so fast that he can solve customer problems like that. So think talent, not years. Think talent and skill. Do you think the guy from Apple, do you think the guy that started Apple, you think he was worth the same as one of the engineers?
No. So, I mean, you did say, though, so talent is something more important than years. Is that what you're bringing? Is that what you're explaining to us right now?
Talent is a consideration. I believe that everybody from the day they were born with some skill set that makes you completely unique. And in that skill set, you can outperform your peers. Way outperform. And it would, if you believe what I worked for Ross Perot for a while. So if you believe what Ross Perot says, he says that this skill would have showed up in elementary school. So tell me something from your elementary school days that you knew you were going to be a technology genius.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm in the wrong line of work. I'm faking it as an IT guy. No, I'm not joking. I'm not joking. I get paid well, which is like a graceful thing. You know, I mean, I'm proud of that, and I definitely agree with what you say about like, let me put on myself, about your list. First of all, about building up that confidence through this like list of accomplishments, because I also think they're stupid in some ways, but a lot of them are actually really nice and impressive. But I actually have worked my way up to a very decent salary level, top salary level, out of my peer group, just by a lot of these conversations. And now I see if I can do them even better. But my real talents probably lie elsewhere. But it's not rocket science, so I've probably done okay.
Writing.
What's that?
Bethany, writing. So Bethany, we have to go, but can you give us any last parting words of wisdom to get the money, more money that we deserve?
Absolutely. They're not going to bring it to you. You have to ask. As uncomfortable as it is, if you practice in the mirror or practice out loud while Jani or John's talking, it's going to be a lot easier. You just have to ask, and you will be surprised what happens.
Yay! Bethany Williams, go get her books.
Yeah, check out our books. Thanks, Bethany, for being on the show. We've learned a lot today. I've certainly learned a little bit of some painful stuff. But thanks for being with us. We know you're a busy lady, so we'll catch you next time.
Thank you so much. But how can people get in touch with you?
Oh.
You can find me on my website at BethanyAWilliams.com, or you can find me on Twitter at BethanyAWill, or, of course, on my YouTube channel at Bethany Williams.
And pick up her books on Amazon. She's on there, too.
Yay.
Great.
Thank you so
Bethany.
much.
Thanks a lot. Take care. Now, and we're back, Jani. And are you ready for your conversation? You hope your bosses aren't watching this, right?
I deserve a raise, so it's
surprise
good.
element.
I loved her tips. They were real clear, like real nuts and bolts, really clear tips. And I thought it was funny how I could kind of fake it until the end when I actually had to ask for the dollar amount.
Yeah, it is something you practice. Look, you're a media coach, right? So, and you've done this with me, you've done this with other people, where you have to get in there and you have to just rehearse this stupid pitch. You've got to pitch, you've got to rehearse it. And the first time it sucks and it gets better as you go along, right?
Yeah, practice makes perfect, right? And I think it's just like, as she said, like you got to know your worth. And that's the bigger issue, is you know that you're worth what your salary is mirroring back to you. So.
And the one big thing, though, that she said, and I could feel a change just in the kind of like energy of it all, is that third conversation she had already had some job offers lined up. She'd already talked to other people. So she was ready to roll. If they were to, push comes to shove and they don't.
Yeah, that's a really excellent point, because she wasn't attached. Like, it was kind of like, you don't give it to me, I'm going somewhere else. So it's like, not desperate. She doesn't have that desperate energy. So she was going to be way more confident. So, yeah, that's a really good point. So big takeaways: practice, have other jobs lined up just in case.
Definitely.
You have an exit plan, I guess, right?
Right.
Know your worth. What was your big thing, your takeaway?
Crap, what was my takeaway? You just said them, I think.
I still don't know.
No, the big thing for me was the numbers. It just really did hit me. It's like, why did I ask for a lower number? Like, I'm also not trying to, like, rock the boat, you know? And your dog has taught us a good lesson here. He threw up in the middle of this middle of this show. It shows us it's uncomfortable, but he feels better now.
I hope so, right.
You've got to go through that uncomfortable bit, right? It is uncomfortable, but you're going to enjoy that. I've always hated when I get on the phone, I have to ask for these raises or whatever. And it sucks for that 20 minutes, half hour, even a whole day maybe, but then after that you made more money. Feel good about yourself.
Everybody deserves more money. Hopefully you're out there listening and you're going to ask for that raise too.
Yes.
Always a pleasure, John.
Jani, thanks for being here. Thanks for helping out. Thanks for running this. Hey, listen, you going to put the music on or what?
Woohoo! Yes.
We're not going to show your face bobbing anymore, okay? That was it. Thanks for the show. See, now I'm talking to cover for you. There she is. Bye, everybody. We're off. Stopping? I think we're off. It says stopping.
Oh my God.
Wait, don't say oh my God yet. It could be that we're still on. It says stopping.
Oh, it's still on.
I don't think